We're in section 1.7. We're on page 52. Or not 52, 42. Page 42. Page 42. Okay, so the first thing... Okay, so here's the rules for multiplying and dividing integers. Okay, these are a little bit different, obviously different than adding and subtracting. We are going to count how many negatives are in the expression, and that will tell us if our answer is positive or negative. This is going to be pretty simple mathematics. The actual computation part, they're going to be just basically your 1 through 12 times tables, okay? It's not going to be it's not going to be difficult that way because I'm teaching you, I'm testing you on whether or not you can tell me if it's a positive or a negative answer. So if I had negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2, okay, how many negatives are in that expression?
6.
Hold on, how many negatives are in that expression? 3. Is 3 an even number or is it an odd number? It's odd, so my answer is negative because there's an odd number of negatives. Now I just do 2 times 2 times 2 to get negative 8. Now what if I had negative 6 times negative 2? How many negatives do I have? 2. So since 2 is an even number, my answer is positive 12. Okay, so even number of negatives in the expression, it's a positive answer. Odd number of negatives, it's a negative answer. All right, so let's look at number 1 now. Okay, let's look at number 1. How many negatives do I have in 1A? 2. So my answer is positive or negative? Positive 36. What about B? How many negatives do I have? 1. So is my answer positive or negative? Negative 63. I want you to try to solve the rest of them, and then we'll go over it. Okay, what's C? What's C, guys? 0. What's D?
2,600. Negative 2,600.
No,
Just 2,670. My answer is positive because I have 2 negatives. All right, what about E? What about E? Negative 1, because how many negatives do I have in the expression? How many do I have? How many do I have? 5, so that's odd, so my answer is negative. What about 3 times negative 5 times 2?
Negative 30.
Negative 30. Anybody get them all right?
no.
Oh, no, I got one wrong.
Okay. All right, let's look at example 2 now. Dividing integers. Same rule. I need to count how many negatives I have. If it's an odd number, it's a negative answer. If it's an even number, it's a positive answer. So, 2A. Positive or negative? It's going to be positive 8. What about 2B? It's going to be negative 8. All right, go ahead and do C and D on your own. All right, so what's C?
9.
What? Negative 9. Negative 9. Because there's 1 negative, so odd number is a negative answer. What about D? Negative 10. Negative 10. Okay? All right, now I want to go ahead and do the checkpoint on the bottom of page 43, I believe. Checkpoint on the bottom of page 43. All right, number 1.
Negative 99.
Number 2.
Negative 48.
Everybody together. Number 3.
0.
Number 4.
32.
Number 5.
Negative 8.
Number 6.
0.
Number 7.
5.
And number 8.
Negative 4.
All right, who got them all? Good job, guys. All right, good job. Now, example 3. In example 3, guys, use your calculators. This is simple because we're just going to use our calculators, but here's what I want you to figure out first. Is your answer going to be positive or negative on example A? Is your answer positive or negative?
Negative. Positive.
It's positive. There's 2 negatives. That's an even number. Now that you know your answer is positive, Just punch in the numbers into your calculator. Don't worry about the signs. You already know your answer is positive. So in your calculator, 48 times 3 divided by 16 divided by 2. And what do you get?
9/2.
Okay, press the S to D button on your calculators to change it to a decimal. 4.5, 4 and 5/10. All right, now I want you to go ahead and do B and C on your own. All right, very good. So it's going to be 45 and -8. All right, moving on to the next example. Example 4, finding the mean. We're going to use our calculators. This is where they're really going to come in handy. Okay, remember that negative button that I taught you yesterday? Go ahead and enter -42 into your calculators. -42. Now, before we go any farther, what is the mean? What does mean mean? It is the average. It's the average. Okay, so I need to add all of these numbers together. Now, so I've got -42 on my calculator plus 12. Now let me ask you this. Do I have to do plus -36 or can I just do minus 36? Just do minus 36. Now, if you do plus a negative, then you could still get the right answer, but now the more buttons you push, the more chances you have at making a mistake. Just do minus. Minus 24 minus 18 plus 30. And what do you get? -78. Now, what do I divide it by?
6.
I divide it by the number of numbers. And now, okay, now that I'm dividing, do I have an even number of negatives or an odd number?
It's an odd.
Odd, so my answer is -13.
Let's go.
All right, I want you to do the second one on your own. All right, so when you add them all together, what do you get, Colin?
44, but it tells us this.
All right. Okay, when you add them all together, what is your total?
You get, I don't know, I didn't write 244 negative.
All right.
266.
It's 264. -264
What do you mean we're both?
divided by 6 is -44. Okay, so that's finding the mean. Then, one more example, example 5, we're evaluating variable expressions. Substitute the value for the variable and solve. 72 divided by -4 squared. You need to put -4 in parentheses because that means that I'm multiplying -4 by itself. Okay? Otherwise, it would be -4 times 4. So the parentheses are important. -4 times -4 is going to be what? -4 times -4 is positive 16. Positive 16. Why is it positive? Because that's 2 negatives. So 72 divided by 16 is 4.5. All right, I want you to try the second one on your own now. All right, so let's make the substitution. 4 times -4 squared divided by -10. What do you do first?
You gotta multiply the 4 times -4 squared.
Yes, you have to square it. Last hour I had kids saying, well, I thought you did what's in parentheses first. You multiply first. No, because what's in parentheses doesn't need to be simplified. All right, it's just -4. So I evaluate the exponent first. 4 times 16 now divided by -10. And I get 64 divided by -10. And I get -6 4/10. All right, who got it? Anybody get it right? Good. Had a couple get it right. Good job. All right, and if you understand that, that's everything you need to know for 1.7.